Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, let me give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Makakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. Salutations to sincere Akim and Aqua may listen. May the blessing of election be upon your house. My name is Brother Okwai. I'm back in here with another quick lesson. And for today's lesson, I'm going to be going through a little bit of history. So the title I have on the screen is Irish Presence in the Caribbean, right? And what inspired this lesson actually was something I came across, and I took this picture and I wanted to share it, with the Akim and Aquat that may, watch these videos. And so what I want to do, as a matter of fact, one second. The first thing I should do, let's go to the scriptures. So I'm going to pull out the scripture real quick. So this is all going to tie in and make sense. Okay, let's get Luke. Okay, this is Luke chapter 8, verse 17, and it reads, and Yahushua said, For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad, right? So this is all going to tie in and make sense, so just bear with me on this. So here is a still image I took of so this island in the Caribbean is known as Montserrat, right? Okay, so lucky for the pause. Okay, so this is here an image that you see on the screen. This is a country known as Montserrat, and this is one of the more northern islands in the Caribbean. And this is a picture of, I took from above, and I just wanted to bring this out and bring out a little bit of history on this particular lesson, right? Because now a common narrative that our people are taught is that the majority of us in the islands came from, the western shores of Africa. Now, that is a partial truth that Esau normally shares, but he doesn't give us the full truth, right? So what I want to do with the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, I want to actually show you and, shed a light on a lot of us in the Caribbean islands, and we probably moved away to America or wherever, but a lot of us came from Europe, right? On this particular island, known as Montserrat, a lot of them did come from Europe, as opposed to the shores of West Africa, the countries known in West Africa, right? So, I'm going to go to my handy book here, and read a couple things, a couple excerpts for you brothers, right? So, and few sisters, right? So here it says on page, just give me 1 second. Okay, this is page 43 in Negro Question, part 4. And it reads, once the slave ships left the west coast of Africa, she continued on to the Middle Passage. And from there, she proceeded to the Americas. These ships were carrying two different groups of blacks. One group of captives came from Ireland, Britain, Wales, Scotland, and France. Another group came from the West Africa, right? So, here it continues to say, this is not conjecture or some writer trying to make a name for himself. These are the facts, right? And let's continue here. And one of the reasons they ended up in Africa was this demon known as Oliver Cromwell. So he had put out an edict and pushed a lot of the so-called black Scots, Brits, and Irish to the Caribbean islands, right? And let me see if I can find that account really quickly. If I can, then I'll just I'll just skip it for now. Just bear with me on this one. Okay. Here it says on page 35, when the Black Irish were killed and sold to the Americas, their land was confiscated under the Advance Act of 1652. The land was given to the English soldiers that fought against the Royalists and King Charles I. The titles of these black earls passed into the hands of the English along with the lands. I am confused. I can see a bum, forgive me, going missing because of his station. It says, because of his station in life, but how can royalty not be missed by a true historian? Remember that the Irish, Scots, and Brits and are the same people. On the next page, I will give you an eyewitness account concerning the genocide of these people and this cover-up, and so many people wrote about these people, right? So essentially, under these different mandates that Esau had put out, a lot of us were, exiled to the islands, right? Verse 3. Okay, this is 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3. And it reads, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of the Most High Yahweh, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of the Mashiach Yahawashi, right? So, this is a common narrative that is normally, shared to amongst our people, and tell people especially like in the islands, specifically that they wouldn't believe that a lot of them came from Europe. We common have this idea. So many of our people, go to school and try to get an education in higher learning, right? And they come to realize that you learned nothing, especially about your own history, right? I was having this conversation with my father about this recently, yesterday, and and we both came to this conclusion about, we really start learning after we leave high school, right? And for those who are in the know and have this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, there's very few of our people that actually know what's going on, especially in the world, and especially about your own history and where you come from, right? So not to go too off track, what I want to also do, I want to also share another quick image, right? Salakia. So this is a chart that I also saw here I took this picture in the book. So it says the Irish captives. So here it says the West Indies, or also known as the Caribbean. Antigua is actually a smaller island in the more northeastern, I think, Caribbean, right where the archipelago starts to bend, right? Montserrat, that is the first island that I showed you on the screen where I took the picture from above, and then these other locations where a lot of our people were sent to: Virginia, New England, Barbados, Australia, Jamaica, Guyana, right? So the bulk, went to the Americas, right? Because in Deuteronomy, when you read Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, we went into Egypt again on ships, right? And a lot of the bulk of our people, especially from Europe specifically, went into the that United States, and mostly settled, like the Black Scots and Irish, they settled along the sides of like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and those like um, that eastern part of the states in the U.S., right? So let's see if I can get a little bit more. Actually, I found this quick clip as well. I wanted to share, right? Because a lot of this is a common narrative that is commonly left out because a lot of people don't know this. So I'm just going to read this. So here it says, Montserrat, the other Emerald Isle, the only country outside Ireland that celebrates St. Patrick's Day as a national holiday, is the petite Isle of Montserrat. In the midst of the Eastern Caribbean, the British Overseas Territory flag is emblazoned with an Irish harp and the words Erin, with an obligatory Union Jack in the corner. So this is describing the flag of this country named Montserrat. This is not the flag. This is just the coat of arms, right? So pass through the customs with your passport stamped with a green Irish clover. Today, common surnames in Montserrat include Ryan, Dean, French, Joyce, Kerwin, Sweeney, Riley, Driscoll, Castle, Lynch, Martin, Morrison, and Skerritt. Numerous island geographic locals pay homage to the motherland as Cork Hill, Potato Hill, Roche's Mountains, Sweeney's Well, Kinsale, Delvins, and Long Vanished Irish sugar plantations remembered as Farrell, Riley, Dyer, and Molly No and Lee, right? So a lot of them actually got exiled and brought to the Caribbean islands because because of Oliver Cromwell, right? So that part of history is normally left out, and he put together these mandates, right, that began to oppress our people. Right, so let's get one second. Okay, this is Micah 2:1, and it reads, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When in the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. They covet fields, take them by violence, and the houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man and his heritage, right? And I'm just going to read a quick excerpt of something that the so-called Black Irish had gone through, and some of the reasons why they were exiled. Let's see. So this is page, I want to read page 36. This is a scene from the destruction of Drogheda, Ireland by the English in 1641. They stripped the people naked and drove them into the mountains to freeze to death, but not before uttering a strange statement about the English being wild men. Remember that Irish were black in the 1600s. The English impaled Irish children and bashed their heads to stone. These are eyewitness accounts. They took hot tongues and tortured this woman to make her confess where her money was. They burnt the bottom of her feet and palms of her hands. It is important that you remember that these crimes were done to black Irishmen, women, and their children, right? So this is part of this iniquity that is used to oppress our people, right? But our people don't know a lot of these things, don't know about the tragedies that happened. They also, one of the common things that our people learn about is the transatlantic slave trade, right? And that's as far as the curriculum in these schools will only teach you. They won't actually open your mind to actually understand a lot of the atrocities that were done prior to that. Why? Because it's primarily shameful. Okay, I have another preset that just came into my mind. I don't have it on the list, but just bear with me on this one. Okay, this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 16, and it reads, Thou art shame for glory. Drink the cup also. Drink thou also, Salakia, and let thy foreskin be uncovered, for the cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Right. So one of these things that they're glorious about, that are people that Esau gloats about, this is part of that shameful spewing, right? Because they don't want to talk about these things in your local schools. They don't talk about it. If you have children, your children's not going to learn this history. Why? Because it's shameful. This is a pulling back of the foreskin, and the only people who are really pulling back that foreskin spiritually are the apostles and elders on down, without the prophets, right? These are the only people who are doing this, right? That the schools are not doing this. Okay, so where was I? I think that covers everything. I just wanted to touch on that quick little bit of history, right? I believe I had done a lesson in regards to the unrighteous decrees that were put on our people during those days, and that's how they essentially ended up into the islands. But if I haven't done that, then Lord's will, I can always do one on that, right? But essentially, what happened to the Irish, the so-called Black Irish, a lot of them ended up in the Caribbean islands, primarily because they were exiled, right? Under this demon known as Oliver Cromwell, right? So let's get okay, this is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 41, and it reads, Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. And that's exactly what happened, right? When I was reading some of the things that they did to the so-called Black Scots and Irish, like one of the things they have in the book here is that they impaled the children and bashed their heads to stone, right? And the Most High, it says in Thessalonians in regards to it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense those who troubled you, right? And these are a lot of the troubles that were put upon our people, right? But I also want to end off with a quick note. There was also a flip side to this as well, and this is a lot going back to primarily our disobedience and our falling away of our customs and traditions, because we chose to serve other gods, and this is why we're in the condition that we're in, right? So Baruch chapter 4 verse 6, and it reads, Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved Yahweh to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemies. Verse 7, Ye provoked him and made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to Yahweh the Most High, right? So this is one of the reasons that all of these calamities fell upon us, right? Because we moved the Most High to wrath, and we began to worship the creations, the false gods, rather than the actual creator, right? So anyways, I will end it off here. Hopefully Yahweh represents as always. This lesson was edifying, and I just like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Makakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us the truth. Till next time, I say Shalom.